So what brings you in today?
I'm here to kind of talk about some anxiety that I'm having about my wife and I are divorced. We have a daughter together, so just kind of anxiety of the way that she's being raised in the location where half the time that I'm not even able to oversee or help make sure that she's learning good values. I guess.
Okay. Yeah, so it sounds like there's a lot of uncertainty. It sounds like just surrounding this whole circumstance with you and your ex-wife and your daughter, and some problems. Just you're not sure of how things are going in that home.
That's exactly it.
Okay. So what did you plan to work on today? What is a goal of yours for the session?
I guess the main thing would be in just how maybe some exercises or how to process that anxiety a little bit and realize and to think that things are going to be okay and not just always think of the worst case scenario, but remember that she's still going to get home and things are still probably going just as well as they are with me.
Okay, well, that sounds reasonable. Okay, so you gave me a little bit of background last time we met, and so for today's session, I'd like to kind of start off with some structure. So if you don't mind, but we can co-create the agenda. So I don't want to dictate the entire session. You can always we can deviate off of it. But so I'd like you to kind of describe to me your situation more in detail. So what's really specifically bothering you, I guess you could say. And then I'm going to look for some themes and see if I can identify any patterns in your thinking to kind of alleviate some of the anxiety. Okay. And then we're going to send you home with some strategies. Okay, so some things you can work on in between sessions. So we can kind of track your progress.
Okay,
does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds perfect.
Okay. All right, so go ahead, start where you're comfortable, and you can just tell me what's going on more in depth.
Absolutely. So my daughter, name's Everly, she is going to be turning 3 in June. So she's kind of now at that phase in her life where she's starting to actually cognitive thinking and remembering things, that are happening around her and developing her own personality and actually becoming even more like a sponge and absorbing and mirroring things that she sees. So I guess I wasn't so worried about it when she was younger because not for nothing, she probably isn't going to remember much, and she's not going to retain a lot of it. But now they're, cognitive thinking is really kicking in and how can I put it? Just like a sponge, we'll say, right? So I want to make sure that what she sees around her and the things that are happening, I want to make sure the things that she's being taught, whether it be values or just, behavior, things of that nature. I want to make sure that it's, to a good moral standard, I guess you can say.
Yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty, like we said before, and, there's unknowns. So when your daughter is over at the other home, you're kind of unsure of how things are unfolding, and like you said, she's becoming more aware, more cognitively aware. She's learning at an expedited rate, and so things can be kind of scary, I'm sure, for you, because this is new. This is your first child, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm sure this process is relatively straining on some aspect too, because you haven't dealt with this before.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's all new territory. I mean, it's it's a new chapter, or every few months or so when she's starting to learn and doing more things. So it's brand new every single time, and it's new to me too, right? But having my first child, I don't know what to expect. It's different than if you were to have your second or third child. Kind of a little bit of the expectation of what's going to happen. So yeah, it's a little bit of anxiety builds up around that. But
so you're not there's not much to go off as far as history expectation wise, or
no precedent.
There's really nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay. So I'd like you to kind of bring me back to a specific time. So within maybe the last week or two that, you were experiencing some significant anxiety, okay? Surrounding your daughter, maybe dropping her off at the mom's house or, when she was here, and those behaviors were happening. Could you bring me back to a specific time and kind of walk me through cognitively what you were thinking? Think that's possible? Can you?
Yeah, so I guess just to make sure clear, you asking something that was at her mom's house or here that I have anxiety about?
Just in general surrounding your daughter, because correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like the anxiety surrounding, raising your daughter in general, not just being an additional home. It's just kind of in general.
Yeah, there's definitely two parts to that. One,
Okay.
obviously one is a little bit higher than me not being able to be around and see what's going on. That's anxiety is a little bit higher than
Okay.
her being here, because at least I'm here and I can have control and I can put my input in. Obviously her mom has just as equal as the right to have her own input, but at least I would be able to be there, at least to put in my input, at least for her to see it, right, or to hear it. And we do have communication back and forth, but I'm not there every second, just like she's not here every second, so I'm sure she's feeling the same way. But yeah, it's definitely more anxiety behind her being there and not me being able to see it than her being here.
Sure. Okay, so what I'm hearing is that, one is definitely more provoking than the other.
Mhm.
So let's go with that example, because we want to kind of address like the more severe anxiety first, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So bring me back to a time where, maybe she was over at the mom's house, or you were dropping her off, and, you were experiencing significant anxiety. Take your time, and, this example, just try to remember it's a relatively recent one. So.
I mean, I know it sounds silly, but here's like a couple, there's not like any major event, it's just like little things, right? So
Okay.
when I went there to pick her up the one day, she was riding her little bike around, right? And she didn't have her helmet on, right? And she doesn't know whatever, but she wasn't zooming around, but she's just in the garage, and her mom's she's like, well, she's just in the garage, she's not going far, but still accidents can still happen. She's not just about to be 3. She could still fall, hit her head, things like that, because I wouldn't obviously support that. Always make sure she have a helmet on.
That's not something you would do.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, her safety. And I know she means good intent and doesn't expect something to happen, but accidents do happen,
Sure.
right? Just little things with just, for instance, where, her standing and playing on chairs, right? I mean, why would she? I walk in and she's standing in a pub stool, not a pub stool, pub chair.
Okay.
And that's high off the ground. She would have fallen. No one's there. I'm like, why is that happening, right? So it gives me anxiety for her safety, and I know it's just little things, but I wouldn't allow that.
You're scared
Right.
for her safety.
Mm-hmm.
So in that moment when you walk in and Everly, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's on the table or she's riding her bike.
Mm-hmm.
What are you thinking in that moment?
Why is that happening?
Okay.
Why is that being allowed? I've had this conversation with her mom. Her name's Kate. I've had a conversation with her about it, but she's under the assumption that an accident's not going to happen. But that's why they're called accidents, right? You don't prepare for it. You don't expect something to happen, right?
Mhm.
So, I always prepare for what the worst can be, just to be safe, rather than roll the dice and see what happens. So it's kind of going through my head, why is this happening? Why is that okay?
So it sounds like these instances aren't relatively too common.
No,
Okay.
It's just
right.
more or less things for those are just little examples I gave, but more or less on the safety, or her just being safe and not hurting herself. But just I guess a lot of the anxiety is just just value wise, her behavior, the way that she handles things there might be different here. She also is living in the household with a significant other who has 2 kids, and both are older, so they're raised by a different family, and who knows what they saw before and what EVC, or Everly, EV for short, I call her, but what she sees and mirrors that after too. So there's a lot of exposure that she has for things I have no control over.
Okay. Yeah. No. Absolutely. There's a lot of times where you're not around, and
Mhm.
you fear for what she's going to be exposed to, in particular when she starts getting older,
Mhm.
and she starts to learn things at a faster rate, and you're not around for that. So how can you intervene?
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. I don't know about it.
Yeah. Well, can you name a time where something was particularly bothersome, that the anxiety was more long lasting?
Mhm.
Because correct me if I'm wrong, but when you're seeing